Hello everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to build a macOS app that I can remotely fetching photos from external server like this. Okay, let's get started. First of all, let's create a new project for this macOS app. Click create a new, and then under macOS choose app. We can give a name. How about we say super photo fetcher, something like that is your own choice. And here you can choose your team. I think for development we don't need a team for now because we're just running on our own laptop. Choose the interface as SwiftUI, language Swift. We don't need to use core data, so it's okay to keep it unchecked. We don't do tests in this video, so we can uncheck this. Okay, we can create. All right, so you can see is actually create some example code here. You can show the app in the preview. It should be very easy. Hello world. The next step is preparing network calls to fetch photos. So in this video, we're not going to showcase how you create a server and get a request from the server. That will be a different topic. For this video purpose, we'll use an existing service just to return some dummy data so that I can showcase how to fetch the data from there. We're using a existing service called JSON placeholder. You can use that too. We will use get photos from here. So you can see it's actually return a big list of photo information. So the JSON response is an array of objects. For each object is the information of the photo. So you see here. Okay. So the next step is to actually mock a data model based on this request, because we're going to use that model to parse the JSON response. So we can create a new file. That should be a Swift file here, and save it. All right, so let's take a look. So let's just go back to this JSON. So you see there's an album, ID, title, URL, thumbnail, URL. So we're going to create a model just to match that. So we'll do struct photo codable hashable and album ID, which is integer, I believe. We misspell here. ID, just int. Title, the string, and a URL is a string, and the thumbnail URL string. Let's take a look here. Should match. All right, so here the model is done. The next one is actually create the method to fetch JSON of the photos. So let's create a new file. It's a Swift file as well. Let's call a API call. All right, so in this file, we're going to create a class called an API call. And inside that class, we'll create a static function called a get photos. And here we will provide a callback. Completion. Escaping. And in the callback, the argument will be photos, which we just created. And then all right. So then let's define the get photos string URL. String. So which is, let's go back to this. This will be this URL. Let's copy this. Go back here. Also, we will check whether the URL is correct. String, which is get photo string. Return. So now we're going to make that call, which is URL session, data task with URL request. That will be the URL we just created. And then here the data will use data response error and then code. So here we'll first, I believe the data here is optional, so we need to check the data first, and then we're going to parse the photo. We try decoder decode. Here we're going to decode the array of photos. We'll not use this, which is the data will be here. So when we're using share data task is already in the background thread. So when we are parsing the data after we finish it, we're going to send back the data to the main thread. To do that, we do dispatch queue mean async. We do completion. If you remember, that is a executable, and do photos. Here we go. Then after that, we do return. So what if there are some errors? We'll print fetch failed. And we'll return the error. All right. I believe that is optional, so we need to have a default. Don't forget to put a resume at the end so that this request can start. Okay, so that is the API call method. The next step is actually create the UI so that we can actually call this API call to fetch all the data and then display it. So now let's go back to content view. So you see here is empty. So our goal is to create another view called photo view that will host one photo, and then in this content view we will display all the photo views. So to do that, let's create a new view. So make sure you choose user interface and then SwiftUI view. And this will be called photo view. Okay, so in this photo view, we want to display that photo and also with the title. So I could imagine after we get the data, we will have the photo data, which is a photo. I don't think we need a state because it's not going to change. All right, so here we may need to mock data here. All right, one, a title, URL. So here we can use this. Okay, so we mock the data for the preview. Now let's work on the body part. We don't need this hello world anymore. We'll use ZStack. So basically on the background is the photo and on the foreground is the title. The aligned, we can say this bottom, and inside the content we will have async image. This is very similar to image, but it's going to fetch the photo from the remote server. So you see here, this will read photo data, thumbnail URL. So when we fetch the image, we're going to do something for it. Let's just leave it here right now to finish the text part, which is the title. Photo title. All right. So you can, what's going on here? To conform view. So this is something not correct here. I think it's missing here. So we can have a color as a placeholder. So when the image is not loaded yet, it will show a area of gray color. So you can press Option Command P to refresh the preview. Okay, it's still nothing yet. But you can see the title is at the bottom now. So let's do something to this. We can add resizable to resize this. And then fill this. And also we want to define how big this photo view is. Put it here. Let's see, frame 200. We don't need alignment right now. Oh, so see, it's a square of 200 by 200. And then we want the title part to be 200 wide too. Frame 200. We don't need those. Okay. Okay. So it's not loading because we didn't do a very important step, which is turn on the network. So basically, under assigning and a capability is a place we want to tell the entitlements that for this app, we want to turn on a certain capability. So we want to turn this on. Let's go back. See whether that is working. See? It's loaded. So this is actually the image we load from here. Next, let's do some UI cleanup on this particular view. What we can do here is, so you see this title is really close to the bottom, so we can add a padding to it. Right, so another thing is here, hey, title, oh, this padding is a little bit too big, so let's make it smaller. So it's better now. Also, we want to make sure what if the title is very long, how we want to display it. So we can create a two preview. One is called short. The other one is called long. We don't want the title is too long, so we want to limit it. So what we can do is do like line limit 2. So that will always at the bottom. Okay. So I think now we are in a good shape for photo view. Let's move on to the content view. In content view, we want to make that request to that external server and fetch those photos. And when we get those photos, display them in the photo views. So what do we need to do? So at the very beginning, we needed to have a state variable. We can photos. It's empty here. And then we can remove this hello world here. we'll create a scroll view. Inside that, I will be a lazy V grid and columns. Columns, basically to define how many columns you want to have. So we can do it at the very beginning. You can say columns equals to repeating item flexible this is the way to create an array of the same element. The element is this one. If you want to have 4 columns, you can just change this to 5. So here in this example, we're using 4. Now here we can call this columns. And then we provide the content. So in the content, we're going to iterate through all the photos that we will get on the remote call. Be photo. Photo view of photo. So now in the preview is empty because we haven't called the API yet. So let's start to call the API. Here we can say on appear. Do API call, get photo, and then here will be photos, and we will assign these photos to the state variable. All right, whoa, see here, we already see some photo being loaded here, but in a very weird shape. So let's define how big it is. So we can do 900, 800. We don't need an alignment here. Ooh, nice. Make this smaller so you can see. Whoa. So see, 4 columns. Cool. And then by looking at this, you see is aligning to the left. So let's make some change here. Padding, horizontal. Let's see, now you see the paddings are centered. All right. So now we can run this app. Ta-da! It's already able to load this. So you see how nice it is, because when you move there, it starts to load. But when you're not loading a particular area, it's not going to load. That's because the beauty of lazy V grid. Okay, so let's make some more changes to the UI, doing more fancy stuff. So how about when we want the UI to be when we hover over, we show the title. So the way to do it is to add a state. Oh, sorry. We should go back to photo. Have a state. Variable called is hover. By default is false. And then on the Z stack, we say on hover. Which is hover. We will pass the is hover equals to is hover. Then we only want to show that one is hover. All right. Ta-da! Nice. One last feature we want to add is when we click on one square here, we want to go to a URL. So how can we do that? We can do something on top of photo view. So we can add something called a link. So the link is we'll go to URL string URL. Then the label can be this whole thing. Okay. All right, let's try it. Nice. When we click it, it's going to the browser here. Here. That's the one. Very nice. All right. So that is the app. Hopefully you learned something from this video. And if you like this video, please click the like at the bottom of the video. And also if you like to get notified in the future about new videos coming on, please subscribe to my channel. And thank you for watching. Bye. See you next time.